Hello YouTube, we're back with another character guide. We have returned to Guilty Gear Strive. We're talking about some Johnny. I've been playing him quite a bit. And YouTube loves when I make character guides, so you guys be eating this stuff up. So let's talk about some Johnny. Very good character right off the bat, for sure. He's pretty much the same as he always is. Neutral monster. Good damage. He got some good mix-ups. We'll talk about all that good stuff, right? Super solid character, in my opinion. And he now comes with a beard, too. So that's something new. So let's talk about the character, right? Let's go over some buttons. We'll talk about 5P first. 5P, it's okay. It's pretty standard. It's not your fastest button either. It hits a decent amount of range. You know, regular button. His 2P is his fastest button. It's 5 frames. It looks really slow, but when you put it on hit, you can master it. This is basically your mash combo right here. 2P, 2P, 5P into low misfiner. You can dash up and do pressure afterward. Right. Standard mash. You can also do this. You can do 2P, 6P. This also works. He's a little bit farther away. But you can also knock them back a little bit farther. You can do stuff like this. Send them full screen. His jump P is pretty regular. I don't use it for many situations, but it does exist. It's not bad. It's okay. His 6P is pretty good. Probably slightly above average. His anti-air, he has a couple of anti-air options, so this is definitely one of them on top of his punch misfiner, which we'll talk about later. That's it for the punches. We'll talk about kicks. His 5K is really good. His 5K is like always good in every game. The range on it is really insane. It is I want to say it's a 6-frame button too. It's really fast. Or actually it might be 7. I know his 2K is 6 frames. His 2K is also really good. Goes right into 2D for max distance. His 5K goes into his 6H, which he does have. It doesn't combo though, but very solid button to use. It does go into his 6K as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. His jump K is also very good too. It's got a lot of range on it. Used for certain combo stuff. There's definitely some fuzzy situations you can use it for like mix-up wise, but he has other mix-ups that are way more just stronger and like more consistency wise. But his 6K is very good. You go into a bunch of combo enders off of it. It's a decent launcher for certain combo enders. Like, it goes really far away, it goes really far. You can use it off a throw to do certain stuff like this. Sorry, hold on. You do stuff like this. So, like, off a throw, you can go into 6K on meaty and have the card on top of them. Yeah, very, very good button. It's probably not as degenerate as it used to be in neutral from older Guilty Gear games, but it's still really good. And you can obviously keep it safe by pressing misbanner cancel or doing Insengo, which is very safe on block. Yeah, all of his kicks are very good. I have like no complaints on any of his kick buttons. Let's talk about slash though. 5S, very solid button. Goes pretty far. It's 9 frames. Goes straight into 5H, obviously. Goes into 2S. Or sorry, it doesn't go into 2S. I'm thinking about old Guilty Gear. But his 2S, though. His 2S is a low, as you can tell. Block switching is disabled, but he is on all guard standing. This is a low attack. So, his 2S, very good. Very far range as well. Jump S, also very solid. Look at the range on this, too. It's also obviously jump cancelable. So you can jump away from it afterwards. You can do a couple, like, some interesting stuff with it. Probably not that, but you know, all his slashes are very good. You don't have a unique slash, just standing, crouching, jumping. His 5H also really far range. This recovery wise is 30 frames, so I would be very careful pressing this in neutral unless you're absolutely sure it's gonna put them in block stun. I would not be doing this just randomly, willy-nilly. You're better off pressing this. This recovers way faster. Or even 2S. 2S recovers pretty quick in neutral. But his 5H is primarily used on block, always. You do not want to be whiffing this normal. This normal has a lot of recovery. His 2H is very interesting. It is kind of his launcher for combo starters, like especially off of stuff like Close Slash. You do stuff like that. Especially in the corner. In the corner, he gets a lot of stuff. Can't have the combo yet. There we go. Straight into super. Yeah, it's his main launcher starter. So, by itself, it's pretty negative, though. I would be careful with doing it. But he has a lot of options off of this. He can go into hard super. Yeah, mainly for combo stuff. I would not be using it just willy-nilly. His jump hitch, though. Jump hitch is very good. It's his main button off of safe jumps. So he can do stuff like this in the corner. Or not in the corner, but off of his throw into this. This is a safe jump, by the way. Pretty easy. You just throw, backdash, air dash into jump H. Safe jump on all DPs. He has a couple other stuff too. He has like stuff like this. And you can do safe jump off of that as well. Or not, the setup was a little bit, I messed up the setup there, but yeah, he has a bunch of different things you can do off of this button. Very, very solid button. It does come out pretty slow though, so, you know, be careful with that as a jump in. But he has a bunch of other stuff. He can use this too as well to kind of bait anti-airs. You can also backdash out of it as well, so obviously air backdash. So yeah, he's pretty tricky in the air as well. He got some good buttons in the air and on the ground. He also has 6H. 6H is very similar to this, but even more range. So when using it, be sure that you're doing it on block or on hit. You can do it into 5k, but it doesn't combo. It does wall bounce though. There we go. That's a better example. So in the corner, you do have some pretty good damage. It's also the best thing to press off of a wall splat. Because of his range, it's very similar to like Soul 6S or Soul 6H in the corner off of a wall spot. You want to be pressing this as your button to break the wall. And then Dust, right? Dust, pretty standard. Nothing too crazy. His 2D though, 2D is very good. It has 2 hits on it. The second hit hits a little bit farther than the first, which isn't that much, you know, isn't that important, but it does work max distance on his 2k and 5k. So for knockdown purposes, it's very important because off a knockdown, he does get hard setups. Show a better example off the block. Gets 50-50 here, so obviously lower high. Yeah, very, very strong sweep. His jump D used to be way more impactful in other games. In this game, I haven't really found that much of a use for it, outside of some like really specific combos, but it does exist. It has a lot of push back on block, but I haven't really found too many uses for it, to be honest. I wouldn't really press it. It might be better in like situations where you're doing an air-to-air, but I haven't really explored it too much, to be honest with you. But it does exist. That's it for his normals though. Let's talk about special moves. Obviously, Misfinder Stance. So you have 3 different versions, right? You have the punch, the kick, and the slash. The slash version is a low, by the way. And if you're in the air, it is a high. So this one is very important to be using. This is mainly for combos for the punch version, because it does launch you up. You can use it for anti-airs, but you know, it's pretty risky, I'm not gonna lie, because the recovery on Misfinder is really long. And obviously his kick one is mainly for neutral, so stuff like this. You can obviously backdash. So if you hold the button, you can also dash out of it. If you let go right when the dash ends, it will still come out at the Misfinder, but if you hold the button the entire time, it will cancel the dash, or it will cancel the Misfinder. Also in the air as well. So that's basically it. Mix-up wise, it can be used for certain combos like this too. But yeah, like neutral, combos and mix-ups, and launcher, pretty much. And sometimes situational anti-air. And like I mentioned before, you can also use this as a way to like bait 6Ps. It's a little risky though, so I would be careful when doing this, but you can do it. It is an option. If you want to cancel this though, I know most people, especially from older Guilty Gear, will cancel it by pressing the hold the stance or pressing H to cancel it. But the fastest way to cancel this is by doing it with D, because D has no attachment to a special move besides this, right? So if you're doing it in block stun, canceling using the D, pressing punch, kick, or slash plus dust is the fastest cancel. So if you want to cancel this, to be perfectly safe with it, because sometimes if you do it with H, it will give you Insinga, because 214 H is a special move. I usually do S plus D, since I am on hitbox, right? So I have a button layout like this, so I would press either punch. Punch is a little bit awkward for me to do. I like pressing S and D because S is very close to my dust button. But find whatever's comfortable for you. But yeah, if you want to cancel into it, if you want to cancel out of it, using the button press dust is the fastest way to do it. In neutral though, I would press the H, because if you press both at the same time, it will give you the new mechanic, right? So if you want to cancel it, I would drum it into H. Most of the time, you're not really doing that. You're mainly doing it off of the dash, or like late canceling it, right? But that's it for Mythfinder. Pretty easy to understand. The range run is very solid too for neutral. So it doesn't cut through fireballs anymore though. It used to cut through fireballs pretty consistently. It will trade though if you're quick enough, because it is so fast. If you hit the character before the fireball comes out, it will like technically beat the fireball. When the fireball is completely out, it doesn't slice the fireball anymore. It's not like old Guilty Gear, unfortunately. But you can beat out fireballs if you see them fast enough, because Mythfinder is so fast. But let's go to his other special moves. Let's talk about Insinga. Insinga is -4, and the push back on it is so far, it's safe, pretty much. Like, there's no way, no character in the game has anything to reach that far. That is 4 frames. So it is very nice to be using it on block to create some space. It's also a launcher if you do it from close distance. You can do certain combos with it as well. So it's a very, very good move. It also beats throws, because this is airborne. It beats throws and it beats lows. So situations like this where you were to do counter attack. So say off a block, right? I made Kai try to throw me. Maybe not off of that though, but like off of this. This will beat throw. It will also beat lows. It's pretty self-explanatory. Because it's airborne, it obviously beats those things, which is very nice. But yeah, pretty solid move. Really good damage on a counter hit as well. Let's talk about Vault. We'll talk about Vault and then we'll talk about the card, which is his new main mechanic. So the Vault's pretty good. He has his move almost in every game, I think. He has a follow-up after it, which is pressing H again will give you the card. So this is normally unsafe. If you do it late enough, though, it can be safe. So if you send the card really early, it is punishable, obviously. But if you delay the card toss by pressing H again really late, you can make it safe. You can be plus though. It's always gonna be negative. I think like -3 if you delay it the max amount. But you are safe though, which is very nice. It's not super hard to do either for the delay. Let's talk about the card itself, right? So the card gives Johnny access to a mechanic called Turn Up, which is due to him. So if you slice the card with Misfinder, it will create the situation where it gives you an extra slash and it gives guard crush. And the guard crush is about, I want to say, I think it's like plus 20. It's quite a bit on block. And on hit, it does give you a launcher as well. So obviously for combo extension, it's very nice. But you can also just toss the card out regular. So this is the punch. Punch throws it out pretty close. Kick throws it out very far. And then the slash version throws it out a little bit higher, but in the middle of the two. So punch, punch, kick, slash. Punch, kick, slash. Those are the distances for the cards. The cards last quite a bit. They last out for quite a while. You can't throw out multiple cards, only one. And if he gets hit, they do go away. But yeah, it lasts about, like, I want to say like 12 seconds. Like 8 to 12 seconds, I want to say. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, like about 8 to 9 seconds. So this gives you an opportunity to create a situation where you can kind of threaten the opponent with a bunch of stuff because they're scared at any point in time. You can obviously slice the card. This creates situations where you can dash up and throw them. There's also creates a situation where you get 50-50s, right? So this is the beauty of this character, because this is an overhead. If you do off a jump cancelable normal, this becomes an overhead. And if you have the card on them, sorry, my TKs are really bad. Hold on. You obviously create a situation where you get follow-ups off, you get a whole combo off of that instead of overhead. I'm bad at them, but you know, you do get them from anywhere on the screen too. So the cards are very important for him. He's using them for neutral, right? By throwing the card, slicing it. You can do a bunch of different stuff with it. Like you can do it as like an overhead, or like you can do it as an anti-air. You can push them into it, so you can do set up situations for later. The card's pretty important, so you want to have a card out on the screen at all times because it's very easy to toss out. There's even situations where you could put them on block for blocks them long enough where you could throw the card and then still put them in blocks and create a 50-50. So, important mechanic to understand. It's pretty simple though, nothing super crazy. But yeah, the card is very strong. So definitely get used to like tossing it out. Create situations where you can convert off of those cards. Create 50-50s, all that good stuff, right? Create pressure, extended pressure. But it's different special moves. He also has it in the air as well, I forgot to mention. This also has a very unique mechanic to it that was recently discovered. If I could recreate it though, I don't know how good I am recreating this, but you can create a situation where it'll give you knockdown if the second hit of the card misses. I'm pretty bad at doing it though, because I don't know the timing for it yet. I haven't practiced it. It's very new. But you can see that kind of like tumble they do. That tumble will last all the way until they hit the ground, which we can get like certain safe jumps off of and stuff like that. I'll put it on the screen for you right now because I can't do it. But yeah, it's basically the description of it. Very powerful off a knockdown, so you can definitely explore that option as well for mix-ups. Let's talk about supers real quick. Super is a fireball, right? Full screen fireball, very fast. Obviously, it can wall break. It doesn't wall break unless you're absolutely touching the corner, though. It's not like other supers where like they can bounce off the wall and get broken. You kind of have to just like, you have to be touching the wall. So it's pretty good for combos like this where like you're too far to get mid-spiner into RC. You can do 1-2 super if you want to get that damage. It creates a nice knockdown too, so you can walk up on them and create pressure. So it's pretty good to use. It's kind of in a way similar to Kai's Ride the Lightning off of certain situations where it's actually just the best combo to just do button into his super. His other super is Wake Up Super. It's his main damage in the corner super, Wake Up Super. The range on it's pretty solid. It's about like right here. So the range on it is pretty nice for a Wake Up attack. A lot of damage on it. It's like your main combo in there. Obviously the range isn't super far, so if you're going to be doing stuff like this, it will not work. But if you're up close, like, it'll still work off of that. So the range is good, but it's not full screen. So certain things you're going to have to substitute by doing this instead of the other super. But the range on it is very nice. Like, even off of that, it does catch him, which is pretty far. And that will wall break, even though it's not directly touching the wall. But that's it for his moves. Normal, specials, supers. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, he's pretty much like a neutral monster. Obviously, mixing up when he's doing Misfiner and when he's not doing Misfiner. And like, just creating situations where you want to be putting them on block and creating instances where you can do this. Create like low mix-ups, high lows. Stuff like that. So yeah, super solid character. I think it is very easily S tier. Obviously not Happy Chaos tier. The only weakness he has is he does not have a run. He has a dash. Even though it looked pretty fast here, once he does the dash, he cannot act out of it until the dash is over. So certain characters can give him some issues, like zoners, like Axel, Happy Chaos, because his dash has to finish before he can do any action. His backdash is pretty good though. His movement isn't terrible, but that is one weakness, is that his forward dash has to finish. It's not like Leo or Giovanna. You have to let it finish before you do anything else, so which can be kind of dangerous to get in on characters. But besides that, most of the characters aren't touching him in neutral. He is insanely good at neutral. And like I mentioned, right, just creating situations where you can do stuff like this into mix-ups like that, which is like super dangerous. I'm pretty bad at it, but you know, it's I don't want to take your time up, obviously. But yeah, that's Johnny in a nutshell.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。